Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's Jira training session. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to export your Jira data into an Excel CSV file. Okay, so what you need to do is navigate your way into your project. If you are familiar with JQL query, you can go into your filters and then use your JQL query to pull out the data that you want. You can already have your dashboard already created and you want to export the data in there into Excel, or you could already have a saved filter that you just want to export the data in that saved filter into Excel, okay? The process of exporting is going to be the same, but it just depends on where your data is and then navigating to how to get that data in and then exporting into Excel. Right now, I already have what I want to export, but I'm going to walk you through the process of how I got to this. So I'm going to go into my project. Once you click on your project, by default, it takes you to your board, or it could take you to the setting part of your project, depending on how that's set up in your organization. All you need to do is navigate your way to the issues, because you want to see the issues in this particular project. Remember, just because you're exporting, you can export from multiple different projects at the same time. It doesn't have to be one project, but just because I'm keeping it basic, I would show you how to export from multiple different projects into one and then one Excel file if you want to. So for the purpose of this training, we're focusing on just one project. Once you have all the issues showing up in here, you can see I've got my epics, I've got my bugs, and I've got my stories in this. But I want to only export just the epics. So what you need to do is go into your JQL query and define that more. So now say, you know what? This is everything in the project, but I'm only interested in epic. So I'm going to be filtering out every other thing. What you need is just a basic, simple JQL query, which should be project equals to, you can put your key or the project name, and then you use the and then you say issue type, because your issue types is the epic. You type in issue type. Yeah, choose from the drop down. And then I would say equals to epic, because I'm only interested in epics. And then I'll put my epics in there. When that comes out, I choose that. And then I click on the search button. Yeah, so you can see now this is filtered out every other issue type and it's just focusing on just the epics in the project. Okay, that's the first part. Now I want to export. Do you want to export every single field you have in Jira, or do you want to define the information you want to export into Excel? That's another thing you need to ask yourself. What do you want to see in the Excel file? For the purpose of this, I'm going to be defining what information I want to export into Excel. I don't want to see the thousands of fields that we want in Jira, that we have in Jira, and then having to delete loads of information in the Excel sheet because it's not going to be required. But I want to focus my attention on what exact information that I need before exporting it into Excel. Okay, so right now you can see I've got my type, I've got my key, I've got my summary, assignee. Yes, I want to see that. I want to see who's raised the request. I want to see what priorities, what the statuses are. But you know what? It's missing the components. I want to know what components this is going to be, or labels, or fixed versions, depending on what you want to see. For you to be able to add that into this view, you would need to go into this box window sign you can see in here. In your organization, you might see it spelled out like columns, or you might see it like a window sign. Remember, I'm using the Jira Cloud, so it's a bit more, it's the latest version. So for yours, you might just see something just exactly where you can see this column, this window sign, you would see something called the columns in there. All you need to do is just to click on that. And then this would come up, you would have this pop-up, and this pop-up will then show you all the fields literally that you have in Jira. In the search box there, you can type to see what field you want to put in. Say, for example, I want to put in components. Once you type that component in, click on the checkbox, yeah? And then that should be already added in there. Or I also want to add in fixed versions. I want to add in components, I want to add in fixed versions. Once you type that in, it comes up, click on the checkbox, and then that's it. Once you click on the checkbox, that should be populated onto your screen. So if I scroll to the left, so you can see now I do have components and I do have fixed versions already added, okay? Now that you've done this, what you now need to do is to save your filters, okay? Save your filters. In your Jira instance, you probably would be seeing your saved filters at the top of your screen right here. And it would show save filters and details at the top. So you can click in there to save, or if you have yours at the right-hand side, just like mine, you click on save filter. And then you name the filter. I would just call this epic list. Yeah. Remember, when creating filters, always remember to make sure it's viewable by people. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you forget to do that, in most cases, most of the requests to get people complain, oh, I've created a dashboard and it's coming up with an error sign because no one else can view it, or you've sent the link to someone and they cannot view it, they cannot access it. It's just because by default, when creating a filter, just make sure you make it accessible to, you can leave the editor's part if you don't want anybody to be able to edit it, that's absolutely fine. But just make sure your view is not private to just you, because that means only you can see what you've done. And if you use that filter to create a dashboard, for example, it still will not be accessible to anybody. You would be the only one having access to that dashboard. So what you want to do is make sure you change this to either organization or to a certain group, or depending on what, or to a certain user if you want them to be able to view what you've done. So I'm going to keep this to organization and I will click on add. Always remember to click on add. Yeah, funny enough, you find out that people do this, but they don't click on the add button, and then you're still getting error messages coming up. So once you click on add, you can see the organization is added up in here. You can leave the editors if you don't want to, but if you want to give certain people permissions to be able to edit that filter that you've created, then that's what you need to do. Because we're focusing on exporting to Excel today, I won't be going into details with that. Once you've done that, you click on save. Okay, so my filter is now saved. What I then need to do is go into the window sign in here where it says, can you see the top part of my screen on the right where it says shares, export issues, go to all issues, list issues. If you click on the export issues, because we're exporting to Excel now, and then you can see, scroll all the way down, you can see export to CSV or fields, or exports to CSV Excel. Yeah, so what you need to do is export to CSV. And then you click on, I will be clicking on the one that says export Excel, CSV, or fields, right? And then once you click on that, you can see at the top side is already downloading that file for me and is ready for me to open. So if I click on that to open up, now I have my Excel open up, and now you can see all your epics is already been downloaded and already in an Excel file. Now you can do whatever you want, configure the views you want in your Excel, and do as you see fit in here. So that's how you export information into Excel. Once you've done that, you can save your Excel and do your reporting, pivot it, and do the information you require should be in there. So that's how you export a filter, a saved filter, into a CSV file. In the part 2 of this video, I'll be walking you through how to do the same, but using information you already have saved in the dashboard. So thank you very much for staying tuned, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. But before you go, remember to like, subscribe, and ask me a question in the comment section. If there's any video you want to see, or that you have a question for me, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will be sure to get back to you. Thank you very much, and see you in my next video.